constructor injection and setter injections are practically possible, that okay we can, okay, so that we can so perform practically using both setter approach as well as constructor approach. And so what do you mean by dependency injection? So dependency injections so mainly help us to eliminate the object management, and Spring container is the responsible for to managing the bean life cycle. And so what else other benefits so that we will get with the dependency injection is, so wherever the objects are so needed, so the objects are accessible, you don't need to write any special code to access. So automatically Spring framework is responsible to injecting those objects into dependent classes. Okay, so that is the main benefit. So when you are working with the concept of dependency injection, and also it also offers you the concept of loosely coupling, so which I explained you yesterday. Instead of hard coding some dependent class or dependent object installation, later if I want to change some other object, so you have to go ahead and change the class. But instead of that, if your object is created in somewhere else, so you can inject the object into your dependent class. I'll give you a best example. Suppose I have a login DAO. So the login DAO where we want to perform a login operation. So if you want to perform a login operation, so you absolutely require a database connection. So if I want to, okay, so perform the login operation, I need to know whether the given credential, the username and password is correct or not. I need to connect the database then, so I have to validate. So if you want to perform this, so login DAO is required the database connection object. So if you want to get that connection object, so now login DAO is a dependent class on the database connection. So how do we get that connection? So you need to write a logic to get the connection into the login DAO class. Instead, if you use the concept of dependency injection, so what it will do in your class, so wherever you use the concept of auto wiring, automatically Spring is responsible to injecting the connection from bean factory container. From there it will retrieve, then it will inject into your DAO class. The now login DAO has the database connection, it can smoothly perform the database operations, right? So with this, so what is the benefit? So if you think about in larger aspect, suppose in your project you might have assumed that 100 DAOs. For 100 DAOs you don't need to write the logic of getting the database connection in 100 DAO classes. So simply what you need to do, in all the different places, just you need to mention this my DAO class has depending on this database connection. Spring framework will automatically detect those your DAO classes, then it will inject the database connection directly into those DAO classes, right? It makes your DAO classes loosely coupled. Why I'm calling it so loosely coupled? Because this connection, okay, or not, the connection details like driver name, username, password, driver details are not being prepared part of this class, right, which is done from external to this class. So for now this connection is, let us assume this connection is now MySQL connection. Later I can also inject Oracle connection, or later I can also inject DB2 connection. So dynamically you can inject various connections to this particular DAO class. So can we call this class as a loosely coupled class, right? And so if you are making any connection related changes, you don't need to disturb any of your DAO classes. Okay, so that's the special feature of dependency injection. So a class which has the dependencies which can be injected at runtime. So okay, that the whole process of this is called dependency injection. Okay, I'll try to show you practically in terms of setter method. Okay, if you are injecting, so that is called setter injection. In terms of constructor, so if you are injecting the dependent values or dependent objects, it's called as constructor injection. Very simple. Okay, so if you look at in a simple aspect, the dependency injection is very simple concept. Okay, if you see in a complicated approach, and definitely dependency injection is a so complicated concept. So I don't want you to see in a complicated approach. So look at in terms of very simple approach. You have a class, okay, required so some set of attributes which we are injecting from outside of this class. So so outside we are sending into the details we are injecting into this class. As this class is a dependent, you can simply call it as it's the whole process of this is called dependency injection. Okay, and I don't want you to by had a definition. I don't want you to okay. What I would say, I don't want you to follow something else strictly with this rule. The dependency injection means so that is what you need to recollect. Okay, the knowledge. Let me try to show you the same thing practically. First, let's look at the setter injection. Then, so we'll come back and then we look at the constructor injection. So yesterday, so we started, okay, looking at our. Okay, so yesterday, so we started learning of the first example, but I have not really developed any code, but I just have written sample project. Then I also added required dependencies. Okay, so now let's continue from there. How do we build the setter injection process? With very simple code I will write, okay, very small business logic, and we will also try to develop one of the real world application. Okay, so I am seeing some questions from different people. So the question from Ankur, can you include Hibernate part of your syllabus? Absolutely, I can include. Okay, so if you are confirming that you people are joining both for Spring and Hibernate, absolutely yes, I can. Okay, so and Ankur, again there is one more question. Where is the code for JDBC written in case of auto void? Okay, I have not written a complete code because I am assuming that you know about the JDBC code. I have just only have written a logic part where exactly connection is required. The moment, okay, once if you get the connection, you know how to play with the, okay, getting the, preparing a statement object, writing a SQL query, then getting the results, then reading the results, and then sending the result back. All these steps you know, right? So which I have not concentrated. The only the place where, okay, you will be writing a class. Suppose for example, I have a class called okay. Let us assume so this is your login DAO class. So okay, within this DAO class, and I am declaring a instance variable, and that instance variable then I'm auto wiring, so it will automatically inject so that connection here. And so using this connection, and you can write your main method. So within this main method, and you can write the rest of your JDBC code. Make sense? And your connection is ready by this stage. The moment so you are accessing so this class, Spring Framework is responsible to providing the database connection readily. Okay, so I'm launching STS for to access.
Sir, but what is
yeah?
What is the use of that bean?
What is?
If we are writing everything, means like normally like JDBC connection and everything inside is, then what is the use of that auto word, and again what is the use of that bean?
Okay, so normally let us assume so if you don't have a concept of dependency injection, so how do you generally get the object of this?
We simply write a class and we'll write all the steps of 6-7 steps for writing JDBC.
Exactly right. So you need to write all the code, but now so with only one line of Spring Framework is responsible for detecting the connection object. So from the bean factory, then it is making sure that the object will be injected before this class is being get ready to access any of the method from this class. Is it helping us? And at
Inside
the
main
same
method,
time,
again we are writing all the JDBC 6 line of code, right?
no, you are not writing any JDBC code. What I'm trying to say, so the JDBC code means in terms of my aspect, so you need to create a statement, right? So you need to write a SQL query.
Mm-hmm.
This is the common or not? Irrespective of your
Okay.
connection, it doesn't matter what connections you are belongs to, but what I'm saying is you can avoid preparation of your database connection. You can also
Connection
avoid
pool.
getting the connection from the pool. You can also avoid the JNDA lookup. Everything you can avoid from your class. Just one line of code which is fair enough to get the object ready, get the connection ready on your class.
Okay. So everything will be handling inside the bean.
Exactly. Everything will be handled inside of the bean, and the dependent classes will be automatically detected by Spring Framework, and so it will inject the connection to respective DAO classes. So wherever the connection is required, it will automatically inject it to those dependent classes. That's why this process is called a dependency injection. The now login DAO is depending on connection. This connection will be injected from the container bean factory. So from the bean factory you are trying to injecting, so it's called dependency injection. So dependent class, so injecting into here. That's a simple thing. Okay. Feel free to ask like this any questions. I would encourage so for to interactive session. All right, so now going back to the yesterday project. So we built the project, so but we have not really coded anything. Okay, so now let's continue from there. Yeah. Okay, so we have SRC and everything is ready. I'll select the Java mode. I'll close the dashboard. I'll close all other links right side. Okay. I will try to develop the, so one of the maybe kind of real world application business logic. Nowadays if you see, right, so many maybe if you see, if you open some Facebook, if you open the Facebook in the morning, if you open, you will say so in the morning if you open your Facebook, you will say good morning Smith, right? So or good morning Amit, good morning Ankit. So if you have Facebook account, if you open in the morning, so you can see that status notification. If you are open, so in the afternoon you will see good afternoon. So if you see in the evening, so you will be getting good evening, right? So how they are designed that application, so based on the current what time you are login, based on that, so they are writing some business logic, and then so they are wishing you the user, so wishing you the user. So similarly nowadays if you open the banking applications, so bank applications, so you can see, but I may not say not all the applications, so but some of the banking applications, so they are wishing the, so their customers, so before they log in into their application. So mobile apps, if you open Access, so the moment if you open the Access Bank app, you can say good morning, okay, and so they will wish the customer name good morning Srinivas. So like this you can see a similar kind of code. Let's develop here, and then so we'll also try to perform the dependency injection. Okay. So, and what I'll do the first part, so which I want to write, so any dependency injection, so okay, first of all I need to write a bean class. So if you want to write a bean class, would be recommended, so bean class don't directly, okay, so the implementation class don't try to directly write without interface, okay, try to write with the help of interface. Then the implementation class you can write so with the help of interfaces. Okay, so first I will write some so my business class, okay, with the help of interface. Okay, like go with some interface name. I will write some interface name called Memo. Any name you can write, so I'll just write so demo inter, or maybe I'll write like this, demo bean inter. Okay, so which is interface. and we'll use some package name. So I'll use some package name. So com.easylearn is our package. So you can give any bean name. I just have written like demo bean interface. Okay, so then click on finish it. So now you should be able to see interface under com.easylearn package. Yes, interface is ready. So in this interface, you can write whatever the business methods that you want. Okay, so whatever the business methods that you want, and later the implementation partners can implement so your code. So implementation partners can implement, so different peoples can implement, so different different people can implement, okay, different business logic, right, up to them. But so this is what my requirement which I will define in my interface. So I'll write so one method, so public, okay, public void. So whoever is going to be accessing my demo bin interface, I want to give them current system date and time. So I want to display current date and time which I want to display for them. Okay, and so let them write, okay, their own standards. Maybe they can display in US standard format, they can display in Indian standard format, or they can display hour, date, minutes, seconds. Okay, so up to them. So okay, so my requirement is to display current date and time. So that is one business method. The second business method of which I am expecting for to wish the user. So whenever if they call my business method in the morning, so I want to call them like wish good morning. Okay, in the afternoon, good afternoon. If they call in the evening, so good evening. Okay, so and I want to return that response, right? So I want to return that response back to that user. I have used a return type as string. Okay, so the method name which I am writing is wish user. Okay, so as I am wishing the user, so which user I am going to use? So I need that username as a parameter. So username I'm expecting as a parameter. Okay, so likewise you can write a multiple so business methods. Okay, and that's up to you. I just have written only these two bean business methods. Okay, now the implementation partners can implement your business method, and before we do that, let's try to attempt some questions. So question from Amit, why interface, why not a class? Absolutely, you can write directly bean, but would be recommended so bean, right? So can be so if you are going to write a common, okay, the common interface which can be implemented by various implementation partners, right? Hope you know the purpose of interface. Okay, so these are all part of J2SC or maybe part of, so these are all you can learn, so part of your J2EE, right? So the importance of interface. So instead of directly writing a bean, if you write interface, so what is the benefit, right? So that's the same concept will be applicable even part of Spring framework also. So next question from Pramod. So will it be interface injection? Absolutely not. I'm not using the interface for injection purpose. Again, I'm using a bean class only for to perform the injection. Okay. So question from, sorry sir, my question was, this. So if we have used interface, then will it be interface injection? Absolutely not. The interface injection is a formal standard approach which I am following. I can also directly write a bean class and then I can write business. But usually when you are defining any bean class, okay, any business class would be recommended to go with the, okay, the interface then followed by your implementation class. Okay, with this interface can help you to write a so various the implementations methods, right? Suppose I want to write a login operation. Login can be done in various approach. Suppose login can be done so using your Gmail account username and password. Suppose if I want to log into Facebook, I can log into Facebook, but same login operation only. But what I am doing, so using Gmail username and password. Or the second thing is I can log into the same Facebook, so using LinkedIn username and password. When you are going to be logging into the using LinkedIn and password, I have to connect the different service to validate that. If I want to connect the Gmail login, I have to write some other logic to inside the Gmail service. Okay, so Gmail login, I have to write some other logic. But if I directly write the implementation class, so it is, so you need to change every time when you log in into the Facebook. Okay, you have to change your logic. So whether you are login from Gmail login or Facebook login or direct Facebook login, so it is a challenge, right? Instead of that, if you write a common Facebook login, and then so if you just write a login method, the implementation can be implementation can be selected at runtime, right? So if you selected a Gmail login, so Gmail login, so the implementation class will be executed. So if you log in, if you selected as a LinkedIn, so login, so based on the LinkedIn, so you will be logging into, so LinkedIn, the class implementation object will be executed. Are you following me? Dynamic polymorphism. That's the same concept which I am trying to apply here, not something else. Is it clear to all of you? Okay. Sounds good. So now let me write implementation class. So I'll go to write implementation class. Okay, select a class. So I will write, so name of the class called demo bean. I'll just write a demo bean. So this is my implementation class. Otherwise you can also write IMPL. Demo bean implementation class. So which also I will place in the same so the com.easylearn. So this class is going to implement the interface of demo inter. So demo bean inter. I've selected the class. So make sure that all the abstracted methods should be implemented in the my implementation bean class. Okay. So this implementation bean class has been written successfully. Okay. And then so let me enable the line numbers. If you have any questions, you can also refer the line numbers. All right. So now you can write whatever the business logic so that you want. Okay, so you can declare here. Okay, suppose I want to display the system date formats. So I'll use a simple date format. Okay, I want to format the date and then I want to display. Up to you, whatever logic so that you want, because you are implementation partner, you can write whatever the implementation so that you want. Okay, simple date format. Okay, SDF equal to new simple date format. So hope everybody knows all the steps. Okay, and I want to display the in Indian standard format. So the Indian standard format means so DD /mm/YYY. Okay, and then so hours, colon minutes, and then so I want to display in seconds, AM and PM formats, right? So then so I'll just write system.out.println and then display. I can use a calendar for two, or maybe I can also use the dates, so whichever. So dates, so D equal to new dates. Okay, so import the packages. I'm importing the package. So the package date package is imported. No, so Control Shift 2 is a shortcuts. No problem. Import java.util. Okay. All right. So now what I'll do, system.out.println. The current. Okay. So system. Otherwise I'll remove. Current date and time. So which I will be so displaying here. okay, plus I'll try to format the date. So SDF dot format, then I can pass my data object. That's it. It's a D. So it should format this, and then so it should display. So whoever is the client are going to call this. So that time I will be displaying so this date. So why I have written this method? Because when I'm in the calling the user, so for them, so they should know what time they are calling. So whether they are calling in morning hours, evening hours, what time, hours, minutes, seconds, so everything. So they want to check whether our business method is perfectly working on the business logic. So that's what I have written this method. Okay. So I have another, okay, the implementation methods of this user, okay. Okay, for wish user, and before I implement this wish user, okay, and I need a dependent injected message also I want to add before I want to wish the user. I want to inject some message to this particular class, some message which I want to inject, and along with that wish message plus our business logic, and I want to combine both of them. Then I want to return. So I want to return that message back to this user. Okay. Otherwise, let me complete this logic and we'll come back and then we'll add it. So I will use the okay calendar class. So how do you write that business logic, whether it's a good morning or good afternoon or good evening? Okay. So calendar has the okay good amount of methods, right? So calendar dot get instance is the method, right? Calendar dot so get instance is the method. Okay, so you have something called get is the field. From there, okay, I want to get the hour of the day, right? So depends on the hour of the day, then I can decide okay whether they call in the morning or evening or afternoon. Okay, and that hour of the day also which I want to return in a 24 hours format. So there is a constant in the calendar class, so something called so okay hour of the day. Okay, so the hour of the day which will return you in a 24 hours format. Okay, and so that will return, suppose if I am calling in morning 8 o'clock, okay, so I will get my hour of the day is 8. Okay, so int, now you have hour. So once you have a hour, and then you can write your business logic. Okay, I'm thinking okay I'm writing my business logic is like this. You may okay write in a different other approach. Okay, you can write using date, or you can okay try to get the so complete date and then so from there get the hour and then do it. So that is up to you. Okay, what implementation logic you want to write. So then so I'll be writing if condition. So if hour is okay, if hour is less than to 12 o'clock, so means until 12 p.m. okay, so I want to wish the user as good morning. Okay, let me declare some variable string, some wish, okay, some wish message. I'll just write like this. I will declare this local variable as null. Okay, so wish message I will assign that good morning to here. Good morning. So and then else if, okay, so else if the hour is, if hour is exactly 12 o'clock, exactly 12 o'clock, and if that hour is okay less than or equal to 7 o'clock until okay so evening 5 o'clock. Okay, so after 5 I will call as good evening, and until 5 o'clock I'll call as good afternoon. So after 5 o'clock if he's called me at any time, I want to wish him as good evening. Small business logic. Okay, that's it. So when I'm going to returning this message back to the user, So wish message plus I want to also wish the username. So which user I am wishing and that name. So let me give some space between. So the username. So that is what my business logic is looks like. So between these two methods. Okay. And then so what I'll do, but the purpose we came here to learning for to perform the dependency injection, but so far the code which I have written does not relate it to any of the dependency injection. Okay, for dependency injection, so let me write okay a business method for it. For perform the dependency injection, so you need to add some dependent variable here. Okay, so let me write a small string variable, private string. I will use the variable name called message. Okay, I want to inject some message from outside of this class. Okay, and so how I'm going to be injecting? So with the help of setter method. So I need to have setter method because I am performing a setter injection. I will be generating a setter method for that. So for to generate the setter method, you know we have generate setters and getters. Okay, select only setter method. I selected only setter method, and so your setter method is injected. So the moment so this setter method is called, can I say the setter injection is performed? Okay, I will be not calling explicitly, but if the container is called this, can I call? So this is setter injection is performed. Okay. Let me write okay setter injection is performed. I am trying to displaying a message whenever whenever this setter method is called, I am displaying a message for us to know the setter injection is performed. And if it is a bean class, I said the object management is also done automatically by the Spring container. So you don't need to initialize the object, and you don't need to do all these things. For in order to know that whether object is initialized or not, shall we write a constructor? But I will be not calling the constructor. I will be not calling the set message, but I want to see automatically container to manage all these things. Okay, but this container is really calling this or not? How do you know? So let's write that constructor also for to so know this. In this constructor, I will not write any business logic, but I'll just write so system.out.println. Okay, so demo impl constructor is called. So the moment so this constructor is called, okay, can we say that object is created for this class? But I'm not going to do this object creation. I will not perform. The object should be managed automatically by the container. The injections also should be managed by Spring dependency injection. Okay. So what I want to do this message, okay, somewhere you have to use in the code. What I'll do after performing this business logic, so plus wishing the user, I want to also return along with the dependency injected message. I want to also return the dependency injected message. So whatever the message which is injected, okay, which I want to return back to the back to that wish, plus I want to also return this message. So I will be returning this. So now perfectly fine with all. This is a complete business class. This is the full-fledged complete business class. Okay, so you have current date and time business logic. So plus I'm trying to wishing a user, okay, based on the number of hours. So then I'm concatenating the business logic executed output plus user passed parameter value, client invoked parameter value, plus my dependency injected message. And with the combination of all this, I'm returning as a string back to the client. But so far, can I call this as a Spring Bean class? Absolutely not. So far, can I call this class as a Spring managed bean class? Absolutely, answer for this is no. Okay, because it is not yet managed by Spring framework. It is a normal Java class. For to control Spring, this class lifecycle manages. Definitely you need to configure this bean class as a bean in the Spring configuration file. Then only Spring framework will manage this class bean side, okay, dependency injection, as well as when you are calling a business method for to perform all this operation, this class should be configured as a bean in the configuration file. Then only all this dependency injection is applicable. If your class is not under control of Spring, so then this is not a Spring bean class. This is a normal bean, normal Java bean, or normal Pojo class. So how do you configure this class as a bean class? So now let's write Spring configuration file. So if you want to write a Spring configuration file, so we have a option so that you can select in the STS Spring Bean configuration file. The moment if you select Spring Bean configuration file, okay, so it will ask you to select what is the name of the file name. You can choose any file name. So I'm writing spring-config.xml is my Spring Bean configuration file. Okay, click on next. So it will ask you to choose the XSD. So the XSD is nothing but so what schema definition so that you want. Schema definition means, so as you know, right, if you want to write any XML, okay, so you need to follow either DTD or XSD principles. So I don't know how much knowledge you have in XML, but so usually XML code when you are writing, so either you need to follow the DTD standards or XSD standards. The XSD are very advanced than your DTD, so all Spring configuration SOR files follows the XSD standards. Okay, so for now the only beans are enough. Later I will be showing you the other XSDs. For now is bean tag is enough, so beans. And so which version of the XSD that you want. So these are all at the time of download, if you remember, so I showed you those XSD files, so when we are going to be using. So here is the practical place where we are using that XSDs. According to this XSD instructions only you can write, according to this XSD instructions only you need to write your beans. If you are writing against this, then your beans are valid. If you are writing with invalid, automatically you will be getting error because that will be validated by this XSDs. So if you want, you can select the version, or if you want to select a basic version, the basic bean XSD, you can select this, or you need a specific version, you can also choose the specific version. Okay, and then click on next and then finish it. For you, it will automatically prepare the Spring configuration file. It will get it ready for you. Spring configuration file is generating. Yes, now successfully generated. So now if you see, whichever the files are managing by Spring, you should able to see a symbol called yes. So that is special files for Spring. So previously this project is also have a symbol called J. Now it is changed because so this is detected as a Spring project. Means ultimately where the Spring framework is starting with the help of Spring configuration file only. So if your project contains the Spring configuration file, that is the starting point or entry point to start your Spring framework. So automatically the symbol has been changed, and this is also has now a symbol called yes. So this is managing by Spring. So now what do you need to do? So you need to configure the bean. So under this bean stack, so we have to configure the bean. So here is the XSD what it is imported. So this much code which is automatically generated by the STS. So now if I want to configure our bean, so far if you see our bean is not showing with the symbol of yes. If it is means, so still not under control of Spring Framework. So now I will be configuring as a bean. So now let's configure as my bean implementation class. So here is the bean tag. So open this bean tag, then close. So for every bean, okay, so must should have some unique ID because you will be looking up. So you have to look up so bean with this ID. So the ID is nothing but the unique identifier of bean. The bean ID may not be used in more than once within the same beans element. So it should be unique name. So how many number of beans are you are writing? Every bean should have their own unique ID name. Okay. So like I will write maybe a demo obj ID, something like that. Okay, demo obj ID, and then so followed by which class you are constructing ID for this. So you need to choose a class, and the class name should be fully qualified class name. It should not be just only class name. It should be fully qualified, means along with the package you have to mention. So along with the package demo impl bean is complete our so package name we are mentioning as a class. Now this class will be constructed, and then so with the name, with the unique name or with the unique ID is ID. Okay, so that is to configuring the bean. So for any bean if you want to configure, so this is the approach. And for this bean, so you need to perform dependency injection also, because this bean is depending on the message. I want to inject that message from outside of this bean class, which should be configured under the Spring configuration file. So, and if you want to perform, okay, so if you want to perform setter injection, so there is a property called property. So if you use property, then so moment if you select, automatically it will detect what all the different properties that are there to perform the setter injection. It is automatically detected, right? And for this I'm going to be inject some message. So if you want to inject some message, either you can use value. So what value that you want to supply, either you can write separately value element, open and then close, within that you can write your message, or the shortcut you can directly use the attribute also. So both the are valid scenarios, both are valid the approaches. Either you can write, so this is the value element within the property, or you can also directly use the value attributes. I'll use the value attributes. Okay, and for now I'll try to write some message, welcome to Spring Framework. I want to inject this message, welcome to Spring Framework, some welcome message which I'm injecting into this demo bean IMPL class. That's it. Okay, that is the pretty much for to configuring this bean. Now if you see, this bean is also under control of Spring Framework. So now see, symbol has been changed to S. Alright, so that's the complete configuration for whenever if you are defining any bean and how to register a bean in a Spring configuration file. And now I'll class, right? Because in order to invoke